everybody, this is Dr. D from ABA with Dr. D, the channel where we share ABA with you. One of the most important topics in our field of behavior analysis is how to teach skills, right? So today we're going to cover that particular topic by emphasizing and focusing in the area of prompts. Okay, prompts, a really important topic in our field. Today we're going to focus specifically on the area of errorless learning. So I want you to already get that in mind. This should probably be your first video that when you're teaching or you're working on presenting something on errorless learning, this should be the main video or the first video to start working on this. We will in the future start adding to this particular topic because there's a lot of different parts that go into this particular area of teaching skills. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with a couple bullet points so we can kind of review what prompt is, and we'll kind of look a little bit more about what errorless learning is. We will have a video at the end where we're gonna review it together like we always do. And basically that video is gonna be based on errorless learning because that's pretty much one of the more common and really important ways of being able to introduce skills for a lot of learners that we work with. Okay, so the first bullet point says that supplementary antecedent stimulus used to occasion a correct response in the presence of an SD that will eventually control the behavior. Okay, so at this point what's going on is that particular SD, that instruction that we're providing, has no control whatsoever. We have no response, and it's normal because the learner does not have a history responding to that. There's been no history of any kind of reinforcement or any kind of exposure to this particular type of instruction. So that's why these prompts are going to be really crucial for us to implement them correctly. Okay, now we move on to the next thing, which is the antecedent. Okay, here that behavior technician presents, this is an example, a red, green, and blue card of visual stimuli, for instance, and says point to red. Okay, which is the vocal stimulus, right? This is a listener responding program for those that are, keeping track with the verbal behavior curriculum as well. So we provide that particular instruction, point to red. The expectation here obviously would be that the learner will eventually, point to the correct color. But since this is a very brand new skill that we're teaching the learner, we will need to provide a prompt immediately. And that's part of the errorless learning process. Okay, so in this situation, the prompt is delivered, right? The behavior technician models the correct response by pointing to red. Okay, and then the behavior is that the child points to red. And what happens afterwards that the behavior technician provides a token to the child, which will be considered in that example a quote-unquote reinforcer. Hopefully we'll see more responses in the future. So very, very straightforward, right? I mean, at the end of the day here, what I want you to really focus on is the fact that we have an antecedent. Okay, that's our SD. In this particular process for errorless learning, we will provide a prompt. Okay, and then after that we have the behavior, and then we have the consequence, which is obviously the part where we make sure that we provide that reinforcement. In the future, like I said earlier, we will provide an error correction example, which error correction we go through A, B, and C, and then we are able to get that consequence, including a prompt at the end. But in this particular example of errorless learning, we are providing the prompt right after the antecedent. Okay, so a couple more bullet points before we watch the video together. So here it says that depending on the client's needs, we may start with the more intrusive prompt to support the correct response, which is very true. That's what we want to see. We want to increase the probability for that response that we need from the child to engage in. Okay, and that's why it's very crucial to select the right prompts, right? The prompts that is going to allow you to, provide that success for your client. Okay, the goal is to set the client with success from the beginning and work on decreasing the behavior technician's support, which is part of the prompt fading. Okay. Very important topic. We will cover that very soon in future videos, but the aspect of not staying with one prompt is very important. That's why it's very crucial for you as a clinician to learn the prompt hierarchy from most to least, from least to most. So whenever your supervisor's out there providing you this information, make sure to pay very close attention, because what happens is if you stay with the same prompt and it tends to be the more intrusive prompt, you're going to have a situation of something called prompt dependency, which is very difficult when you start working with learners that are very prompt dependent on, basically a behavior technician, a parent, whoever is the person delivering the instruction. It is a very, big thing. So we want to make sure that as soon as possible, we start fading out those prompts so that the response comes under the control of the, natural contingency or the natural SD in the situation, which is basically whatever instruction we're providing to them. So we'll watch the video right now together, and we'll be able to break down errorless learning a bit more. All right, so welcome back here. We're going to watch this video example of errorless learning, or a video model. A lot of people can consider this a video model. This is video 98 of our series of video models we have available for you. If you want to watch this video by itself, please do so. We have so many video models available for you. I think they're very helpful. We're actually seeing a phenomenal increase in people using our materials for training purposes, which is exactly the reason why we do these videos for you. Okay, so let's get to watch this video and we'll be able to assess it. Before I start putting the video on, I want you to focus on something very specific. I want you to give me an idea or sense, or focus on the idea of what is the instruction, what is the SD I will be presenting to this child, okay? And we'll kind of give a pause and we'll come back to that question, okay? Do this. Boom. We'll pause it there because it was immediately, okay? So we were able to catch that. The SD was, okay? If you said do this, you're correct, okay? That's exactly it. You want to make sure, like I said earlier in the slides, that you have that antecedent. So that right there's an antecedent. And like I said afterwards, when you're doing the errorless process, you immediately prompt, okay? Immediately prompt, okay? Which in this scenario, I will be using a hand over hand prompt to be able to do the hands. And by the way, it was not just do this, but it was also showing the child the type of movement that I want him to do. Okay, so I'll play right now. We'll start from the top again. Do this. Yeah, nice. Boom. So I said do this, right? I immediately prompted the child's response to clap their hands or to move their hands, and then I provided the C, which is the consequence, correct? So we had that A, we had the prompt because we're using the errorless, we have the B, which is the response, and we have the consequence, okay? Pretty much that constitutes what an errorless learning is, okay? And this, once again, is an example, very quick, very brief example of how you would implement a variety of different, types of, skills or behaviors that you want to start shaping using the errorless learning model, okay? Very powerful model. At some point, once again, I want to emphasize this because unfortunately, I do see this sometimes in the field. We have this tendency to forget of fading prompts. You want to make sure that as soon as possible you're able to fade those prompts. If you're not sure how to fade prompts, make sure to ask your supervisor, your consultant, whoever is the expert working on the case. We will have a topic on fading prompts, very soon. But overall, the most important thing to see here is a sequence of how you start introducing skills. At some point, we will start maybe implementing something called a time delay. Once again, the kind of prompts I'm using, maybe I might use a partial physical. Basically at some point the child's going to be responding to this particular instruction on their own, because that really is the goal. You wouldn't want to keep the child on this whole process of clapping their hands with the physical prompt, with the full hand over hand, because that once again is called prompt dependency. We don't want to do that, okay? We want to avoid that. So I hope this video was helpful for you. Once again, we have many videos available for you in this channel, the channel where we share ABA with you. Don't forget to subscribe because we need your support. We're about to get to 2,000 subscribers. I'm so excited, so pumped about that process. This has been a project that we've been growing systematically, organically, and I really appreciate everybody out there that's continuously providing us the feedback, the likes, the support, and we're here for you. So I hope you all have a good one. Take care now.